I just bought my most terminally ill fan his replacement heart.
Oh my god. Is that MrBeast?
This kid looks sick as heck, dude.
Bruh.
Do you want a heart to save your life? Or do you want a MrBeast wrap Tesla?
I would literally kill myself for a Tesla.
Good boy.
Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back again with another YouTube video, and oh boy, has it been a complete shit show the last 2 weeks for MrBeast and the MrBeast team. Now, last week started off with Chris Tyson, who is part of the MrBeast team, getting exposed for messaging minors inappropriately, and also having a Discord server that was avidly promoting not safe for work content. Well, Chris Tyson knew that most of the people in his server were minors, and also allowing really creepy people in that server as well to interact with these minors. Now, I haven't gotten fully into these DMs, but trust me, I will. Then later in the week, a guy by the name of Dogpack404 came out with not just one exposed video, but two exposing videos that both absolutely blew up with millions and millions of views. Now, we're mostly going to be talking about these Dogpack videos since he does bring up a lot of really good points. But we're also later in the video going to go into the reaction and also how MrBeast has tried to counter these claims. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is a lot of people have gone after MrBeast, and most of the time it's met with the same response where people just call them a schizo, or they're grasping at straws, or why are you going after the messiah of YouTube? Why are you going after this golden boy? Now, I thought the same thing when I started watching the video, since, you know, Dawson, who is Dogpack404, starts the video off with a skit where he's kind of like pretending to be schizo and his pupils are all dilated, and he's like, guys, I'm running from MrBeast and I have all this information. And then very quickly you realize that he's trying to do a content cop, which if you guys have watched iDubbbz, it's usually like an exposing video that's somewhat humorous. Now, he starts the video off kind of weak, talking about how MrBeast fakes his videos. I thought this was all public knowledge where, you know, we all were under the impression that these videos are fake. You know, it's clear because, you know, most of his challenge videos all end like to the wire, and it's usually two contestants that are the most likable and have the most personality. So I immediately knew, like, yeah, these are clearly fake. He has a production team that steps in and obviously dictates who's going to win and who's going to lose. Now, he also brings up evidence by showing that MrBeast will avidly have his own employees, his girlfriend, friends, family partake in these, you know, game shows and these challenges, which will clearly have a bias with Jimmy, MrBeast. He's obviously going to have a bias towards who's going to win if he has his own employees in the video. You know, he also shows another bit of evidence showing that, you know, during the 100 guys versus 100 girls challenge, he went out of his way to pay the one dude who knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube during the Rubik's Cube challenge to leave. You know, during that challenge, he just straight up went to the guys team and said, I'll give you $10,000 if you leave right now. And obviously the dude's like, okay. You know, if I'm a guy on the guy's team who flew out to go try to win MrBeast's challenge, I'm going to be pretty upset because you clearly just pushed the favor in the other team, and we just, you know, lost our only guy who knows how to solve these Rubik's Cubes. You know, another thing he brings up is a certain guy who has been on the MrBeast crew, how he won a challenge even though he has been working for MrBeast 2 months beforehand, even buying a mansion where MrBeast lives. During an interview that someone had with this dude, he straight up asked, like, where have you been making this money up till now? Like, what were you doing? He's like, oh, I was just hanging out with my dad. Like, he was clearly working for MrBeast before he took part in the challenge in which he won, which really raises eyebrows, like how accurate and how actually fair are these challenges. I mean, I think we all know that they're all fake, right? But the huge issue is MrBeast has gone on record to try to say that they're real. They're all real, guys. There's no fiction here. It's all real, which I don't know why he's being disingenuous. You know, I don't know why he's peeing on me and calling it water. Like, we all know it's fake. I guess it works for his young audience thinking that this is all true. And I just don't understand why he can't just bite the bullet and tell everyone that the videos are fake. The challenges are not real. There is an actual no stakes when it comes to the challenges. It's a bunch of biasness and predetermined outcomes. Now the next point he does get into is Feastables, which is MrBeast's candy company. Now the point he brings up is diabetes is like the leading cause of death when it comes to children and, older people as well in America. Now MrBeast has gone on record to say how bad obesity is and sugar, and also promote his Feastables, which is his chocolate bar, as being like an healthier alternative and better than Hershey's. Even though that's just straight up not true. Now, again, a weaker point, but it is a point. I think it is kind of disingenuous for Jimmy to try to promote this candy bar to children while also trying to say that diabetes is bad, yet here's his chocolate bar. And another big thing with the Feastables as well is the challenge that he tried doing with the Feastables, where he told a bunch of kids to clean up the aisles and to purposely hide other candy bars, which is really messed up and I think illegal too. You can't just employ a bunch of children to go clean up your candy bars at Walmart. I don't know if he was working with Walmart during this incentive, but I think it was really weird to just be like, guys, yeah, clean up my candy aisle, please, and also try to hide chocolate bars at the same time. Pretty messed up. He also goes into some other details that aren't as important, but I want to get into what is really bad, and this is obviously probably the biggest point he had in his video, is these illegal lotteries that MrBeast was throwing during his live streams. Now, MrBeast has had countless live streams where he was selling merch. Now, the way he was trying to promote this merch is by telling his young audience that every couple of orders will get $1,000. Hey guys, if you order within the next 5 minutes, I'm going to throw in $1,000. 5 minutes would go by, nothing. 10 minutes will go by and he's like, oh guys, I think we forgot to give a guy $1,000. In the next 2 minutes, someone's going to get $5,000, which is just straight up illegal from what I've read. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an audit. I'm not a legal advisor, but that just straight up seems illegal. The dude's clearly doing something scummy here. Trying to host a lottery without actually having any rules or, no pays necessary kind of stuff. So you'd just be like, guys, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to throw a PS5 into an order. Pretty scummy. And he did a couple of these and he kept trying to go off and say that he wasn't making money off of this. Guys, I'm not making money. Guys, do we want to make money? We're giving away too much money. He clearly made a shit ton of money off of this, since you have a bunch of impressionate kids thinking that they're going to get paid for buying MrBeast merch. Which is really scummy. Now, all these live streams have been completely scrubbed off the internet. After Dawson's video talking about it, they went and just deleted the last ones on the Facebook page, which is really scummy and kind of breaking away the shell that is MrBeast's, golden boy persona. So that was obviously pretty bad, and in my opinion, the worst thing that he talks about. Now, in the second video, he gets into something really bad. Now, the first video is obviously bringing up the illegal scams and stuff like that. Really disgusting. But this second video is actually going to put MrBeast away. It starts off with him interviewing this guy by the name of Jake. Now, Jake was on one of the MrBeast challenges where I believe he had to be in a room in isolation for a certain amount of days. Now, we did get a bed. He did get an ice cream machine, stuff like that. And the challenge was he had to stay in there and survive a certain amount of time. Now, he went off to say that this was one of the worst experiences of his entire life. Not only did they not shut the lights off during the whole entire time, which is just really bad. It's like a form of torture, I guess, because, he couldn't really sleep since the lights were constantly on. And apparently it smelled really bad because it wasn't being cleaned. And also the hot tub too wasn't being cleaned. So it was just the room smelled awful, and it was freshly paint too. So there was a bunch of paint fumes in there. And he said overall it was an awful experience. Now, I don't think this is the worst thing. Obviously really bad. He did sign up for it, but I think it is still really bad. Now, the next thing we're going to get into is probably what I would consider the worst thing yet, where it gets exposed that MrBeast had a registered sex offender on the Beast team. So yeah, pretty disgusting that MrBeast, someone who avidly tries to go after children in terms of their attention, and obviously that's what he markets towards is children, to hire someone who is on the sex offender list. I obviously think that is very irresponsible as well. Now, we later find out that this guy who was working for the MrBeast team was in a couple videos, one of them being a insane asylum video where they purposely had a mask on his face and didn't use his name. We later find out that MrBeast did know that he was a sex offender and on the list, and it was actually him who gave him the mask to cover his face, since they didn't want him to be known. which is really scummy. Now we find out that this is actually Jake the Viking's stepbrother. Jake the Viking being someone who was on the MrBeast team. Now, he did come out with a statement because obviously this is picking up a lot of traction, and he's obviously going to defend his stepbrother, even though his stepbrother is a complete monster. Here's the truth. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. Yes, he is a registered sex offender. When he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him of and others of sexual assault when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time, but he still had to register. His nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. He's from Delaware. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's been back several times. He was hired before I was and was actually the reason why I got hired at MrBeast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew, but again, this incident happened in 2010. Delaware was hired in 2017. Delaware was also let go from the company before I was. Delaware was supposed to be behind-the-scene manager, but in a couple videos he was asked to partake because we needed people. He was reluctant, especially in the Straight Jacket video, because of his charges, and that's why he wore the mask. Delaware's charges are set to drop this fall. Delaware has been nothing but a good person, an amazing husband to my sister, and the best father of my 2 nieces that I could ever ask for. They want no part in this and want to just live their lives away from the limelight. I understand why anyone would be upset and frustrated over these allegations, and I do not blame them. Hurting kids in any way is completely unacceptable, but in the case of Delaware, I firmly believe he did nothing wrong and look forward to the day these charges are dropped. Thank you. Well, these aren't allegations. He was charged. I don't understand this whole plea deal thing. I feel like if it didn't happen, he would fight for it. I know there's a lot of like legal Andes out there who will say that, oh, well, plea deals are a lot easier than actually fighting a legal case. But now he has to register it as a sex offender. And also, if you guys look at his charges, it's really bad. I believe the charge is he did something to a child less than the age of 11. Could be between 1 and 11. So, yeah, really disgusting. Now, a lot of people were confused because on the risk, it says moderate. Now, I believe the risk means the risk to reoffend. So he's a moderate risk to actually do it again. Really buy this whole statement. It seems like he's really covering for his brother-in-law. I don't know why. This is absolutely disgusting. He is a registered sex offender, and Jimmy knew full well of his charges and still allowed him on the MrBeast team, which is absolutely irresponsible and disgusting. MrBeast works with kids and targets kids when it comes to his advertisements, and to allow someone who has a record, who is on the sex offender list on your team, is not only stupid, but it's also worth getting your entire brand taken down. You know, wait till the sponsorships find out that you had a sex offender on your team. You know, so obviously really disgusting, and I really don't know what to say about this. This is obviously the most damning out of everything. You know, MrBeast, this holy, all-loving, nice guy who donates to charity, had a sex offender on his team and knew that he had a sex offender on his team. I really don't know what to say. I'm just really disappointed, and this is obviously really disgusting news. And for Jake the Viking as well, constantly going after MrBeast and MrBeast's involvement with Chris Tyson, saying, oh, he knew. You knew that your brother worked for MrBeast and had a record, was a registered sex offender, yet, you know, you didn't say anything about that. You know, this is just absolutely gross. MrBeast is just going out of his way to hire the most degenerate people on his team. But I'm sure he's going to pull a Logan Paul and say that, oh, it's just the people I'm hiring are bad people. I don't know. I don't have control over it. You know, as of right now, MrBeast has not responded. However, Dawson has done multiple interviews where he has talked about how MrBeast has sent him a cease and desist letter telling them to stop making these videos and to also take down the videos. So yeah, MrBeast is completely cooked. I mean, he's going out his way to try to silence Dogpack now, which is not a good look. And even if it does go to court, I'm pretty sure Dogpack has a pretty good argument since, you know, he only talked about public knowledge. He didn't break any NDAs. There was no defamation happening here. So yeah, pretty bad. It's been a complete fire over at the MrBeast team. But I don't know. I mean, hiring a registered sex offender, illegal lotteries, you know, trying to hide things, trying to cover things up. It's not looking good for MrBeast. Now, do I think his career's over? Probably not, since, you know, young kids probably aren't going to care that much about MrBeast and what he's doing. But sponsorships are definitely going to care. Stores are definitely going to care. I mean, imagine being the store being like, yeah, we're selling Feastables. Oh, well, do you know that, you know, there's a registered sex offender that worked on that team? Do you know that there was illegal lotteries that were being pushed towards children? You know, it's not a good look, man. But anyways, if you guys like this video, leave a like, subscribe. If you guys want to join the Discord, the link will be in the description down below. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next YouTube video.
Mr. B 6000, oh, Mr. B 6000, oh, Mr. B 6000, yeah, you know his name. He changed it once or twice, but I think it's